Welcome to the Crispin Flintoff show on your show. Lots of shows going on today in one. And I'm really pleased to be up here in Liverpool at the Labour Party conference. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I'm not very pleased to be up here in Liverpool near people at the Labour Party conference, apart from Audrey White and Phil Maxwell. So how are you doing, Audrey?
Good, yeah, fine, thanks.
And Phil, you're doing good? You enjoying all these people up here for the conference?
I've tried to avoid the place as much as possible, but unfortunately I've had to do some filming right next to where all of these people are. So, nevertheless, I'm happy to be in Liverpool. It's a great place, but unhappy about Starmer and the gang being up here, because really they're not welcome.
No, but Audrey, you were out last night apparently, and you had a great night. But actually, both of you were there. Could you tell everyone what was going on? What was this do you were at?
What can you do when you've got a rotten carcass on your doorstep, which is the Labour Party? So the Merseyside Pensioners Association made a decision to have a celebration of the death of the Labour Party and the birth of a new one, you know. So it was a celebratory mood for us because, you know, we have actually worked at it for a number of years because of the betrayals. And it was great. We had Craig Murray speaking, you know, and we were like two terrorists in the room. Because Craig was a terrorist before many of us were. So, yeah, it was great. And we had like food and music. We had Teo singing and we had speakers on Palestine, a couple of speakers on Palestine were magnificent. Yeah, it was great.
You'd say you were there too, it was a good night for everyone?
It was a very good night because I remember Labour Party conferences many years ago where there were working class activists participating in the conference, and they all seemed to be at the death of the Labour Party last night.
Yeah.
Well, that is symbolic then. Now, the reason we're doing this show, that I really wanted you to come on, is because both of you have been involved in some really big videos that have been made that have exposed Starmer and the whole oppressive regime on Palestine protests. But I mean, unfortunately, you know, Audrey, what you went through, I mean, we have to talk about what happened. But it was all on film, and loads and loads of people have commented on it, and it really exposed what's going on. And I think we've got, I've been told the way to do this is say, roll VT.
This is not just a war over stolen land. Why do you think little boys are throwing stones at tanks? And we'll never really know how many people are dead. They drop bombs on innocent girls while they sleep in their bed. Don't get offended by facts, just try and listen. Nothing is more anti-Semitic than Zionism. So please don't bring bad vibes when you speak to me. There's plenty of rabbis that agree with me. It's your choice what you do with this message. Don't get it confused. I view this from a human perspective. How many more resolutions have to be violated? How many more children have to be annihilated? Israel is a terror state. They're terrorists that terrorize. I testify my television, televise them telling lies. This is not a war, it is systematic genocide. But whatever they try, Palestine will never die. Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza.
I mean, it's just horrific. I was crying the first time I saw it because I couldn't believe how they were treating you there. How do you feel? I mean, you kind of watched it many times. What do you feel watching it?
I feel upset watching it. I am a tough old cookie, you know, I really am, you know. And when I watched that, this is what happens. And I do think, you know, first I thought, oh, well, it's happening to all of us, and it's worth doing. I don't care what anyone says, it's worth doing. Because it did go, went round the world. There was places, all sorts of countries getting in touch with me. And then, you know, afterwards, it really did build up, you know, made people aware of how vicious this prescription is and how unjust it is and how ordinary people are revolted by the fact that somebody, not like me, but like everyone, you know, is against genocide and wants to speak out about anything, you know, is going to be shut up by this government, you know. Freedom of speech, you know, it just doesn't exist, does it, when you can do that to someone? You know, I knew there was consequences, but not that, you know. And really, you know, people from like Spain have come over and interviewed me, and they've done, you know, fabulous pieces in, you know, and it's a big advert really for, you know, how repressive this country is now, you know, authoritarian. And I think because of the, I don't know, and it was special treatment, even my bail conditions, even the way I was treated in the in St Anne Street police station, you know, being put back in myself for yet another 2 hours when we were told we were going to get out, and I was going to get out in 5 minutes, you know, and they kept me there for 2.5 hours. So all of it was very, very heavy-handed and discriminatory, really, and that's what's happening with this law. You know, different people are being treated in different ways. So yeah, it does upset me, and I think it's I don't know why they chose me, really. Don't think I loom large in anybody's mind, really. Shouldn't do. But I was, so it was good, and it was great that all these people filmed, you know, what was going on, and it was great that it got out there to, nothing's better, is it, than a film, you know, showing actually what's going on, and it shows it from the beginning to the end, so...
So just to say, your bail was so restrictive, you probably haven't been able to go out. I mean, you went out last night, but was that like one of the first times you'd been out since your bail?
Well, what it started with 16 days, it was house arrest. You know, the lawyers described it as that, so 16 days. And then after that was probably another 3 or 4 weeks. So it was probably the last fortnight I've been able to go out. So yeah, you know, for a while I could only go down to Rodney Street, which is like 2 streets ahead of me. But now but I can't go on any demonstrations, which, to be honest with you, why shouldn't I be able to go on a demonstration
You still
with
can't
Palestine?
go on any demonstrations?
Palestine.
No.
Palestine. So if you're caught with a flag or anything that's vaguely, you know, the way it's been interpreted, the law, anybody says anything, plasticine action and all this, you know, so you can't take the risk. I really don't want to be treated like that again. It did frighten me, and I was afraid really that it would frighten others, but I don't think it is. It's great.
Phil, what did you? I mean, you were filming that, but it must have been hard for you to film it when you're seeing what's happening. I mean, how did you keep it together to film it? But you obviously knew you had to film it. So.
Well, to be honest, we didn't film that. What we did is put a call out to all of our citizen journalist mates, send us your footage, and I've been working with Haswan Hashim as a filmmaker now for over 25 years, and he's quite a genius when it comes to taking mobile phone footage and sewing a narrative together. But I think you're being a bit self-effacing there, Audrey, because you say you don't know why you were treated in that way. Well, I reckon it was Starmer's revenge. And that encounter that you had with Keir Starmer that we did film sent shudders through the political establishment, went all over the world, has been seen by millions of people. And following that, and I think this is the real significance of what you did, a lot of people started using their mobile phones to confront these genocide supporters. And all of a sudden, there was a transparency that wasn't there before. So I think this is what's happened. And if people are using their mobile phones and they're recording what these people say, and generally they just run away or say nothing, then I think they're doing a great service to democracy. And we were pleased for that part of the end of the film that we could put a call out, and because people trust us as independent filmmakers, we received lots of footage that Haswan Hashim was able to sew together very effectively and narrate from the start of the arrest to you being thrown on the floor in the police van from beginning to end.
And you were at the conference, weren't you, for the protests? Was it on
Sunday?
On Sunday.
Yeah.
So there were lots of you were filming that with all the arrests there. Tell us what happened there.
Well, it was, to be honest, it was really surreal, having been to many Labour Party conferences myself. The best one, incidentally, was when Eric Heffer walked out, when Neil Kinnock was giving his speech condemning the Liverpool Labour councillors. And I remember that vividly because I actually followed Heffer out. But if there was ever a symbol of the cultural change in the so-called Labour Party, it emerged from the film. We haven't looked at all the footage yet that Haswan Hashim and myself were making when we were watching people being arrested by the police, because on the balcony overlooking this particular area, there were lots of Union Jack flags, and there were Labour Party people kind of laughing at what was going on. Years ago, we were all expelled. And what's happening now is that people are getting knocks on the door at the dead of night and they're being taken away.
Yeah.
And for me, that image of the Union Jack flags next to the Labour Party conference and those people who are such wonderful activists being arrested by the police, I think that summarised completely the new so-called Labour Party under Starmer. Yeah,
that's a very vivid description there. Now, the thing you mentioned earlier, which is obviously the most famous clip of you, Audrey. You've got a lot of hits, but your top one was in a cafe. Now, what was that? That was before he was Prime Minister. Yeah. Was it a year or two before he was Prime Minister? 2 years before he was Prime Minister. So what I wanted to do was we'll show it, and then we'll talk about the whole background to it and everything. So what was it? Roll VT.
After you, I've been being interviewed and doing columns for the Sun newspaper after the way we as a city were abused, and after the way we as a city, the Hillsborough victims were abused by that paper, and you've come here. Secondly, you lied to us about uniting the party. I'm still a Labour Party member, and you've expelled and witch-hunted in the most vicious way I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I've been a member of the Labour Party for a long, long time. You have absolutely said you had 10 pledges, you were going to carry on the Corbyn legacy. And ever since, you've done nothing but distance yourself from the ideas which tens of thousands of people joined the Labour Party to support, and all you've done is feed into the Tory ideology of not supporting strikes, of carrying on with the privatisation of our health service. You're doing everything to feed into a Tory victory, because we may as well have a Tory if we have a person like you who lies to the party. It's in dishonesty.
Thank you very much.
And our health service is going right
much.
down the pants, and you have a big responsibility, the working class people of this country.
Can you move back, please?
Excuse me. You're just, don't be getting physical.
No, I'm not touching you. Can you move back then, please?
You're touching my breast.
Can you move back, please?
Now move back.
No, can you move
I want to
back,
get to the
please?
toilet.
Wow, what a brilliant video, and it's very short as well. It's no more than it's not 2 minutes even, is it? That bit there. I have to ask you, how did you get the words out? I mean, if I saw Starmer in a cafe, I'd probably stumble, but you were very fluent there. Was it lucky? Did you pray that I can get the right words out?
No,
What was the secret there?
To be honest with you, I sort of found out the night before, and just phoned Phil and Haz and a few comrades who told them to keep it all quiet, and they were around the corner in the pub. They were waiting. So I sat there nervously with Phil and Haz and another comrade of ours. And when they walked in, I thought, I never even thought for a minute what I was going to say. It actually just even when I said, filming now, because I said, you're filming. We haven't even got the cameras on, he said. So I just went, I was afraid of him getting away. I was so afraid of him getting away. So I suppose this pumped me with adrenaline. And when I got there, it just all flowed. It was, kind of a bit of stroke of luck that it did come out the way it did. Can you just say we had another comrade of ours, there's Kevin Bean, he's passed away not too long ago. But at the end, it's a good video, not because of me, but the film is fabulously made. It cuts right where it should do. There's almost an element of humour at the end. It's a perfect little piece. 2 cameras there, and then and at the end we were shouting. We were trying to talk about Palestine. And this comrade was shouting, Kevin and me were saying, on your question of Palestine and all the rest of it, and we had to cut that out because it was very messy and very noisy. Well, I didn't cut it out, they did, and it was probably the right thing to do. But yeah, it's just a perfectly made little film. But the best part, the best actor in it all was Starmer. Because of the way he behaved. I mean, he was a gift, wasn't he? He was a gift because he did not know how to deal with this woman, bloody hell, 70-odd-year-old woman, and he didn't know how to deal with me. Yeah, so bad. I think it's 7 million people have seen that now. 3 million in America.
3 million in America, wow.
It was a couple of million in the first week. It was. I am a viral queen.
That was your top. I'd say that was your top one. So the thing about that though is you had to have 2 cameras. You had to have one on Audrey and one on Starmer and his guests. So you planned that all before, Phil? What did you have to think about when you were planning to do that video?
Well, first of all, unlike Starmer, Audrey doesn't need a script. And I got a phone call in the evening, and Audrey said, what are you doing tomorrow? So I told her, she said, well, stop it. I've got some very good intelligence, and you're always getting good intelligence, Audrey, let's be honest. I've got some very good intelligence that Starmer is going to be in this restaurant tomorrow at this time. So Haswan and myself, we discussed it. Usually, we've got big cameras, but we used 2 of these small cameras here, and we sorted out beforehand that Haswan was going to do Audrey, he got the good job, and I was going to do Starmer. And it was a beautiful kind of experience, because Audrey had arranged for people to be in a local pub round the corner, and she had planned to text them saying now, as soon as Starmer arrived. And we'd also booked a table in the restaurant, so we looked like just nice people there having a meal. And I remember we were there about an hour before Starmer arrived, and I said, and it was lunchtime, and I don't normally have a drink before about 7. And I said to Audrey, I've got to have a drink. So I had a few glasses of wine. And Audrey was sitting facing the door, and she said to me, he's here, let's go. I said, Audrey, wait until we've switched the cameras on. But we knew what we were doing. And after the whole event, we rushed back home in a taxi, and Hazwan edited the whole thing, I think in about 45 minutes. And we were able to get it out pretty quickly.
Very quickly.
And I think a week later, you got a letter from the Labour Party saying, we forgot to send you a letter. You were actually expelled some time ago. Obviously a big lie, but you are expelled now. And what you saw in the first film was, I'll always say this, was Starmer's revenge. Word came down from the then Home Secretary, we've even got a worse one now, to do the dirty on you. That's the only explanation I can think of, because when we were filming at the Labour Party conference this time, when they obviously knew a lot of the press would be there, it was like, I don't know, it was a difference. The police were completely different.
Yeah.
And they had a script, by the way, and they were reading it out, and they were filming everything. And obviously we filmed it in a slightly different way. And that was the contrast. But I think what happened to you demonstrated in a vivid way to the rest of the country the draconian laws that we're now living under, and how free speech has been completely eroded.
With Starmer, I mean, many of us were warning everyone about Starmer because we'd seen what he did within the Labour Party, and how we could see that what he would do within the Labour Party, he would do it in government in a similar way. So
100%.
the sort of prescription of groups within Labour, he's actually done exactly the same thing with prescription of groups outside.
Yeah.
So it was quite frustrating, wasn't it? The last general election, many people on the left seeming to think that Labour was a better option than the Conservatives. I mean, what do you think about? Is everyone turned against him now? It's weird to see people at the conference, Labour people, still hanging in. What do you think of them?
Well, I think they're all, I mean, most of them are careerists. They like getting dressed up in a suit, and they don't have their, except you've only got a jacket on. But, they don't associate with working class people, do they? And, they don't, they certainly don't represent working class people. And by the way, it was 4 days afterwards that I got the letter to say I was being expelled, not even a week. And they said that I'd been expelled in the February. And of course, Lee Harpin from the Jewish Chronicle was the first person to tell everybody that, even before I knew about it. So there are like these machine, wheels within wheels. But yeah, I think these people are you have to be some creature, don't you, to walk into a conference like that, to listen to people, and you're all getting comfort from each other being there. That you're in a party that takes heating allowances off pensioners, that takes money off disabled people, that all the absolutely atrocious things that they're doing and pouring money into wars, you know, Ukraine, and of course, above everything else, and it is above everything else, you know, financing and playing an active role in genocide. I don't know how anybody can sit there. You've got to be some kind of monster to go along. And really, you know, is it the salary? Is it the power? Is it there's no jobs anywhere else? You know, is it that pathetic that you would sell your soul for being in the Labour Party? You know, I don't know what motivates them. I think there's some genuine members, though, you know, who still think there's some hope somewhere. And it isn't just the leadership that we've got to worry about. It's the cabinet, it's the Labour Party, the machinery of the Labour Party, and they've stitched it up. They're absolute criminals. They've stitched up our bit of democracy we've had. So there is no account. They don't have to account to anybody. The lawlessness and the criminality of these people, I think, is, you know, it's so apparent. People have got their eyes open. They've got their eyes open to what these politicians are about. And I don't think that the damaging thing is it puts anybody off, any politician now.
Yeah, I mean, the Merseyside aspect as well. Liverpool is always seen as a staunch socialist city, and the fact that there's these MPs who are Labour and a Labour mayor. I mean, you saw him in that clip. I mean, it's a bit embarrassing to Liverpool that there's these people still sitting in, and then there's no one represented who's proper socialist, really. What do you think, Phil?
I think, well, from my own point of view, my local MP is that left-wing stalwart, Paula Barker. And I remember the one that stood for the deputy leadership and said, we need change again. And she's been telling the constituency party for months on end, Keir always listens to me. And about 3 months ago, one of our MPA members and a stalwart of the movement, a woman called Mary Harrison, went to see Paula, and she also took someone with her because she's disabled and she's very hard of hearing. And when she went there, the door was opened and she was told that she couldn't take the other person in with her. She was then taken upstairs. Her telephone was taken off her. Her handbag was taken off her. And she sat in front of Paula Barker with two people on either side who kept on interrupting her. And there was a security guard standing behind her. Now, this is an 80-plus year-old person. And I remember, before I was actually expelled from the Labour Party, her saying on a Zoom meeting, because it was during the COVID time, saying, oh, don't worry, if you're expelled from the Labour Party, I'll still be your MP. Well, my branch, community branch, Unite, I'm the equalities officer, asked me to go and see Paula Barker to discuss the way Mary Harrison was treated. In fact, we were going to offer her disability awareness training. I've written to her 4 times now, and I haven't got a reply. This is, you know, showing the real democratic deficit that exists in this country, because you're actually barred from going to see your own member of parliament. And now, no doubt she would say that myself, I'm disabled myself, would be a threat to her security if I was to go. There is actually a film of Mary going to see Paula Barker. It's on the Merseyside Pensioners YouTube channel. So if any of your viewers want to see what actually happened, then it's there for you to see. But it's an absolute disgrace that our democracy, so-called, is being eroded in this way.
Right. Well, I mean, look, you're doing a lot of good films and footage exposing these people. So that's what this show that we're doing now is all about. I'm aware that I've got to move on because there's other stuff. So thank you, Phil, for coming on and great stuff that you're doing. The next film that I wanted to focus on is from Egypt, where I went on a trip to try to march to Gaza, and we were blocked on the way to the Rafah crossing by police. And we've got this film here. If you can roll the VT, it shows what happened then.
Stop a genocide of a people. Please, 4 times I've been to Palestine as a nurse. I paid for myself to go. They are hearing me. This man is wearing a Palestinian ring. They are all Muslim. This is a genocide of a Muslim people by Zionists.
They can't hear you. They can't hear you. They're not hearing you. They can't hear you.
I'm a nurse. I saw them shooting women. I saw them shooting children. Have you ever heard a starving child cry? Have you ever heard an Arabic woman trying to breastfeed her flaccid child as it dies and her breasts are empty because she's been starved? Please. I can't explain to you the horror. I can't explain to you the smell of starving babies. Kalb, where is your heart? Where is your heart? I believe that the people of the Arabic nations have a white heart. I believe you are good people. They are starving children. I tried to feed these children and they shot at me. For love, for humanity, for Islam, stand with your Islamic peoples. Please stand with your Islamic brothers and sisters. They welcomed me into their heart. I paid to go there as a nurse. They beat me in the desert for feeding starving Islamic children. Where is your qalb? Where is your heart? For the love of life and for the love of humanity. They're babies and women. The women are trying to feed their dying babies and their breasts are empty. Do you know what that smells like? Do you know what that sounds like? For humanity and for love, stand with your brothers and sisters in Palestine. I have never seen or experienced anything like it, please. I beg you, I'll go onto my knees and I will beg you for these people. I'm a proud man and I'm a nurse. I paid to go to Palestine myself. I've had babies die in my arms. They shot pregnant women in front of me. For the love of humanity and for the love of Islam, please don't do this. Allow us to march to Gaza. We're peaceful people, we're good people. We're Muslims, we're Christians, we're atheists, we're Jews. We are humanity. We are here for humanity. What are you here for? You don't have to do this. You don't have to follow the orders. Please, I'll go onto my knees and I will beg you. Allow us to march to Palestine. Please, you've got to listen to me. 30 years I've worked emergency. I've been to full wars. I've been to Palestine.
The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will
that's still makes me quite well up a bit, that clip. Yeah, and it's incredible that we could manage to do that. I'm with Carlos Soto, who filmed it. How you doing, Carlos? You all right?
Good.
I can't really believe that you got that footage, because you got right close to him, and the sound was good. You managed to get shots of reactions to people. You got the guy interpreting what he was saying. You got round to the police. You got really close in on him to see his emotion, his tears, and then amazingly, this is the thing I find amazing about that clip, is that you came out of it at a point where you thought, I think you've had enough, and you turned around with the camera, and there are all these people singing "The People United Will Never Be Defeated," and it was like, it was like choreographed, but it wasn't, because it was all happening live. I mean, can you just sort of explain how on earth you managed to get that together?
First of all, I think it's important to note that two things. That one, that I always thought that at some point we were going to get some viral footage. Some of our footage was going to become extremely popular. I was looking for that clip. I didn't know when we were going to get it. But when I heard Lee Evans speaking before I actually saw him, and I heard this guy saying, "I've been to Gaza." There is not many people I know who can put their hand in their heart and say, "I've been to Gaza." I mean, this is where we were marching to, and this activist had been there, and now he was being prevented by militarized cops, really, prevented from going further back into Gaza. And he was talking and pleading with them. So I thought, a bit like Audrey White, it's not so much about the filming, it's about the talent first. It was in front of the camera. And I approached him, and that's actually the second clip that I shot. It's not the first one. When I started filming, he was trying to explain to the cops that he didn't speak Arabic, I think. And he was trying to arrange something with the interpreter that was next to him, which was later on replaced by another interpreter. But when I realized that he had an interpreter with him, I realized this is going to be very, very powerful, because it's not only Lee Evans there, it's actually the cops. The cops are the other element. And I could see it in their eyes. I mean, there is a comment on the video saying, they're not listening. But I could see in their eyes, because of the way Lee Evans was talking to them as Muslims, that they were listening. And I only really stopped because I was worried about Lee, because I thought I was bringing too much attention to him, because an officer actually came forward to watch the scene, and I was watching him, and I thought at any moment, maybe they're going to clamp down on Lee, because they're going to see it as incitement to disobey orders. Even though they're perfectly entitled to disobey illegal orders, they will be entitled to claim that, they're trying to prevent genocide and so on. But, this is not our country. So
just on the technical side of it, what camera did you use to film?
You really want to talk about the camera, but here, I don't know, you can see it. I use this camera. This is a very well-known model now. I gather there may be other similar imitations.
And also, how did you manage to get the sound so clear? Because I mean, people might have a mobile phone, but they can't hear what's what's being said. So can you kind of explain the sound? Because that's part of the whole thing, isn't it?
Sure. I mean, the main thing with sound is always, I will advise people to get as close to the sound source as possible. With this particular camera, if you actually buy a kit that comes in this pouch, you get a microphone and transmitter, which is quite small. And for that video in Egypt, I was actually holding this with my hand to get Lee Evans' audio.
How close were you to him?
Fairly close, maybe
As me?
A bit closer. Close enough that Lee Evans didn't know me. We didn't know each other. And at some point, he actually hit my mic. He moved his hand because he was using his hands to express himself as well. And he hit the mic. But what I was going to say is that this mic in particular has a 32-bit audio option, which means that it will adjust automatically to low and high levels, and it will compensate somewhat for different kind of distances.
Wow. So how much does that cost normally, roughly?
The kit is probably about £650 or so.
Right. So it's quite expensive, but I mean, you can get really good footage on it. I mean, because I'm aware that we're kind of running out of time, so I wanted to say that you've been able to capture high quality, good sound in a situation of real just danger, effectively, in Egypt. But you've also managed to do a lot of coverage of all of your party local meetings, because I think these are really important, that we can see that the grassroots is getting involved and active. You've probably been to more your party meetings than anyone else, because you've been filming. I mean, it must be about 10 now. I know we haven't got much time, but we're going to show a clip of a your party meeting that you did, which is incredible footage. But before we do that, what's your view on what you've seen of your party? Because do you think this is building, or what's your feeling about the atmosphere, the mood around your party?
Okay, there's several things there. First of all, going back to Egypt, I want to say that I wasn't actually. It was challenging because I wasn't actually allowed to film legally in Egypt, and I didn't know that at the time. There is actually a law specifically saying that you cannot film the authorities, and they kept telling me not to film them, and I didn't know why they were kept telling me this, but. Anyway, I ended up with that footage. So
you're not going back to Egypt on holiday?
Maybe not with a camera.
Oh.
Your party meetings can be almost as challenging in different ways. They have been inspiring. I mean, there have been some excellent meetings where people have truly participated. And I think this is the main thing, is that some of these meetings have allowed new activists to voice their opinions and what they want from your party. And that is important in itself. Now, whether the momentum continues or not, I think it partly depends on whether meetings can get hold of local databases, because if the organizers cannot contact the local membership, then the people who turn up at the meetings are not truly representative of the 800,000 people who sign up to your party. But in technical terms, these meetings have been challenging, and you were saying about audio and how to get the best possible audio. And even with a mobile phone, my advice is always to try and use a microphone transmitter like this one, or this is another brand that comes in with a small receiver, and actually 2 microphone transmitters. And you can attach this to mobile phones. And what you can also do is put a mic transmitter into like a cold shoe type of handle. So you can pass this around, or what I tend to do is, if there is a basic sound system at your party meeting, I use whatever microphones they have to attach one of my mic transmitters to the handle of what they may be using self-amalgamating tape, which you can get in DIY stores, and they don't leave any sticky residue. So that way, the mic can be passed around.
Right. Okay. Well, look, I mean, I honestly, the footage that you've got of these local Your Party meetings is not only exclusively on the Crispin Flintoff show, but it's exceptional. And I just want to show on this next clip, it shows how important it is that we have Your Party and we keep mobilising people locally, because I think ordinary grassroots members and activists have the answers for Tommy Robinson, for example, and this is an example of that. If you see this clip, roll the VT, you'll see what I mean.
My partner's mixed race. I've got mixed race daughters and mixed race grandchildren. A blended family, I believe the nice term for it is. So I've got brown grandkids and daughters, and I'm frightened for them. I am frightened for them. Yeah? Now, I don't want to be frightened for them. I want those bastards to be frightened of us. Yeah? So, I don't know making a proposal or anything like that, but I would just like people organising against the right to seriously consider those types of tactics. Now, I'm not stupid. There's a major change now. We didn't have the internet then. Yeah? So nowadays they can organise without coming out of their bleeding bedrooms. Yeah? And I suppose keyboard warriorism is a way to combat that. I just don't know. But I seriously think that physical confrontation is necessary at the lower level and building up. That's me. I'm done.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think what you said is really important. I think really we've got to work out exactly as you said. They don't have to organise like they used to in pubs and in cafes where we could stop them back in the 70s, I'm remembering too. But the truth is, I think this is really part of a global movement that's been organised for the last 10 years. It's a MAGA movement of which Trump is a figurehead, and he's not the only person. I mean, this has been organised by Bannon and others like him that we don't know for at least 10 years, and it's been coming. And people like us have probably been saying, the far right are rising, and all our families have rolled their eyes and gone, oh, she's on about the far right again. The truth is, I think what we need to do and concentrate on is numbers. What used to happen and what has always worked is we have to outnumber them. It doesn't matter that we need to batter them. There's no fight as long as we're more than them. If they're 50, we've got to be 70. If they're 200,000, we've got to be 300,000. What happened on Saturday was a strategic mess. The left talking on the stage, great speakers. Why didn't they say, when they saw how outnumbered we were, at 4 o'clock, guys, you need to go in groups together to a station and get the hell out of here. Let the far right fight the police. Let not give the BBC an opportunity to say both sides and all that shite. The truth is, a strategy for dealing with numbers is vital. If there's 20 of them, we need to be 30. If there's 500, we need to be 1,000. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
I've got a view which is fundamentally different. In this discussion so far, there have been references to the far right and references to the demonstration that took place at the weekend. 100,000, 200,000, 250,000, however big it was. They are not the same. Not only are the overwhelming majority of the working class people who are on that demonstration not the far right are perhaps 1% of them. Moreover, the majority of the people who are on that demonstration are people who historically would be involved in trade unions, organising in their workplaces, and would have a very, very clear working class identity. So let's not talk about people who put up flags, who demonise immigrants as being they're part of the far right. The reason they are where they are is because after 40 years, in my experience, of the far right trying to gain traction amongst working class people and having always failed, 40 years of Labour moving towards the right has finally paid off. Now, it's no good to simply say, but Labour is the party of working people. That works for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, up to 40 years. And now, with all of the things working class people face, alongside a complete political vacuum and lack of leadership on the part of the Labour Party, what is there? Who's offering a future? The far right, Farage and all the rest of them. Farage, a number of years ago, said that he's going to park his tanks on old Labour's lawn. The Labour that represents working class people, that supports working class struggle, strikes and trade unions. It's finally paid off, but I'm not particularly worried, because it took the far right 40 years to finally get some sort of mass traction in this country. It took Corbyn 1 month before there were mass rallies up and down the country. So I think that people who've been attracted to the message of the far right will very, very quickly be won back to us, and all is not lost.
I love hearing that discussion. It shows me that the grassroots have the answers, and we can defeat the far right. And I think your party has a brilliant opportunity to build a movement that can do that. But we do need to have our media, and we need to have people who can film it, and we need to make lots of films. And I just want to thank Carlos for coming on. Thank you for coming on. But I know you could have talked for longer about the technical stuff. And Audrey and Phil as well. And thank you to your show for giving a platform to all these people, and to me as well, of course. My name's Crispin Flintoff. I do a show on Zoom every Sunday from 10:30 to 12:30, and it's also on YouTube. And I hope you have a good rest of the week.